Good morning, everyone. I know I have this raspy voice. I'm fighting a cold. Me and the kids are fighting a little something. Hopefully it's gone before Thanksgiving. Last Friday, I received the report that I've been waiting for over 3 months. I was extremely upset, extremely angry when I got the report. My daughter's autopsy, April Holt. And so I took the weekend in order to pray over how to give the information to other people. And just after prayer and just after thinking about it, I think the simplest way is to just read to you from the report. Yeah, people are going to base their own opinions. I mean, that's regardless of the fact. But I have nothing to hide, and all I'm doing is trying to get justice for my daughter, and even more so after I got this report. And so I just want you to listen. I have 9 points on this autopsy that I have examined thoroughly over and over and over again. And so here's how it goes. And this is the official report, just so you know. I'm not making this up. It tells you that the type of death was suspected suicide. Let me give you a little backdrop. My detective decided to take it upon himself to show up at my daughter's autopsy and give them a backstory of somebody he didn't know anything about, of somebody that he didn't even have the details on this case, because we didn't have all the details on the case until later on. So he took it upon himself to go in there. This is the Nashville Metro Police Department that went in there and told them that the type of death is a suspected suicide. As we go on in her report, they give you 4 points on here. 2 of those points that stand out as a diagnosis is that they first of all did her autopsy after removing her organs, after I gave permission to do an organ donation. They first removed her organs and then they examined them, which I find completely unethical. This is a homicide case, and now you have misconstrued the evidence that could have been what we needed. And so so her autopsy was done after they took out her organs, including her lungs and her trachea and things like that were not examined until after they were taken out of her body. Number 4 listed on here, which is highlighted, and just in case you wanted to see, they said that my daughter had minor blunt force trauma of the body. It says that her circumstances of death, it says that, and it says it right here, this is what my detective decided to tell them, is that my daughter, descendant, secured the bag around her head. He gave them this information when there's no proof of that at all, and he decided to go in there and give them this information. When you go back down onto the bottom, and it says external examination, which I had no clue that an autopsy has so many details, and so I had to go through here and kind of highlight these points. It says there are multiple petechial hemorrhages that extend across the bilateral cheeks. She had her veins, her blood vessels were red, and they were hemorrhaging on her face, which is a sign of smothering or strangulation. And it says right here there are multiple hemorrhages across the bilateral cheeks. And you can look that up yourself. I've sent that to my detective, who I have asked, why is that not taken into account? And so he said he will look into it. Evidence of injury. This is the section on here that says, because I was told, my detective said, well, I didn't see any signs of struggle. So here's where it says there's a puncture wound surrounding her echomyosis within the right fossa. I'm not a medical person, so I'm just a mom. So there are 2 small purple bruises that are on the anterior aspect of her right forearm. There is a puncture wound in the left arm. There is a large purple echomyosis with a 6-centimeter abrasion that extends across the lateral aspect of her left thigh. Multiple small, faint purple contusions are on her lower extremities, on her bilateral lower extremities, showing, first of all, in the first page, it says that she had blunt force trauma. Now we're seeing that she's got bruises all over her body. And then as we go through here, this was just going on about her ribs and her clavicle bone. It says, summary of case, and that's the page that I'm on. It says the summary of case. The descendant had a reported past medical history of alcohol and marijuana abuse. The detective decided to make this statement up completely on his own, never given this information. My daughter, yes, my daughter drank wine. And yes, my daughter would take a half a gummy every day of marijuana. I'm not a mom that denies or even is ashamed of what my children do. If they want to have a glass of wine and they want to take half a gummy, if that's going to help them through life, well, then go for it. But to go into an autopsy and tell them that she has a reported, where is it reported? I would love to see that. Past medical history of alcohol and marijuana abuse. There is nowhere stated in any medical record that she has this. He has made that up himself. Again, that's the Nashville Metro Police Department. And then right here, so this is the really interesting part, where they decided to say law enforcement was not suspicious of any foul play. Yeah. Went into my daughter's autopsy, who has all of these exterior elements, and says they're not even suspicious of any foul play. And then if you go on, there's another page, and it says part of the requested testing was unable to be performed, and that is because they took my daughter's organs out of her body before she had her autopsy, so they couldn't even do all of their testing. So I immediately filed this paper right here. And what this paper says is it is a request for reconsideration of suicide as a manner of death. I have written down here an explanation of how the police have decided to take it upon themselves to tell them what the meaning, what the definition, or what her meaning of her cause of death was. And then here is an explanation of the circumstances that surrounded what happened that day, because they didn't decide to inform the people of the autopsy that she was laying on the ground with her soon-to-be ex-husband in there with her, fighting with her before her death. They didn't decide to tell that she had this bag over her head. They said she put the bag over her head. And so I've written this little thing that I just wanted to share with you as well, and I got to read it kind of fast because I think I only have 10 minutes. So I just wrote this because I have so many thoughts going through my head right now. And it says, after receiving my daughter's autopsy report last Friday, I was extremely upset. The Nashville Metro Police Department took it upon themselves to paint a predetermined outcome and picture of not only my daughter, but the situation that surrounds my daughter's death. The Nashville Metro Police Department would not send me a copy of her report when it arrived either. I believe this was an attempt for me not to see the details surrounding their report and what they said. The detectives painted a picture of my daughter, whom they do not know, as a drug abuser, a mentally ill young woman who put a bag over her head, bruised up her own body, and committed suicide in the same home as her young son was home. In reality, my daughter and you, in reality, my daughter, and you can ask as many people as you know that would know her, that she was a peaceful person, an encourager, a listener, loving mother, daughter, sister, niece, granddaughter. She made friends with everyone she met and was currently even helping her close friend get through his brother's suicide. She hugged and kissed her son and was journaling and drinking coffee, texting me, telling me she was going to see me at church the next morning, and then shortly after, she was no longer alive. I've submitted the forms to have the autopsy redone. I meet with the DA and my detective next week, and my detective will not answer me as to why these statements were made. My detective will not answer my questions related to the proof of struggle of her body by blunt force trauma and bruises. My detective will not answer me as to why he told them she put a bag over her head when there is no proof of that statement. I am fully aware that the Nashville Metro Police Department would love for me to shut up and file her case away in a cabinet so that it will never be seen again and like she never existed. I have a gag order. I'm not even supposed to talk about her, but I'm going to make sure that I don't talk about anything that is involving her case around her son. But I will not be quiet about the injustice that is happening right now. I will continue to fight. I will continue to seek a way to change the laws on how detectives should have no say on what the autopsy says. I have one voice, but with all of you, I have a million voices if people could pair up. So please just continue to follow this case. Go to change.org if you haven't and sign the petition. Just put in April Holt. I need your help through this case. And I thank you again for just standing alongside me and her children as we fight against the injustice.